After an hour of waiting, Robert Stoker finally arrived, and he just seemed to be getting odder in appearance every time I saw him. Granted, I'm sure everyone was thinking that because more eyes were on me than... Scratch that, that's not correct. More eyes were on him than they were me. And who can blame him? I was staring at a man. Well, a nose shaped like a turnip that was the size of a watermelon. Carrying on. He began by insulting me. Insulting my red hair. Insulting my heterochromia. Let's just say the debate did not start off well. Stoker was reprimanded twice within the first 2 minutes of the debate. Yes, within the first 2 minutes. And it didn't stop there. Stoker began by calling Akhenaten a homosexual man with Rolex syndrome who had relations with his own mother. All of those, I should say, don't really work. Rolex syndrome is due to the number of children he ended up fathering. He did father 7 or 9 children after all, and people who suffer from Rolex syndrome have sterility. As for Akhenaten being homosexual, that was rather dated. Back in the 1960s, I believe it was, a stela was found of Akhenaten in intimate positions with an individual wearing a king's crown, a co-regent. I should add that some of those positions also included them being naked. In the 1970s, the figure was identified as Akhenaten's great royal wife Nefertiti herself. It is possible Akhenaten may have been something other than heterosexual, but, well, it kind of comes into conflict, especially when you claim he had relations with his own mother. The belief that Akhenaten and his mother Taya were lovers is not widely accepted. I dare say it might be outright incorrect. For I have heard many times of pharaohs taking their daughters as consorts or lovers, but never their own mothers. I do not doubt it could have happened, but this theory is not widely accepted, and to follow it is to be rather foolish. I countered all of Stoker's descriptions of Akhenaten, leaving out the foolish part, so as not to insult him. But he got insulted anyway by me countering him. Said because of my heterochromia, my parents should have killed me. Thus he was reprimanded a 3rd time. I can certainly see why Stoker has to pay his way into debates. Stoker then proceeded to say Akhenaten was an extraterrestrial, to which I could only sigh and stare. I was debating with a lunatic, it seemed. I dare say he was a lunatic, and I'd say it proudly, outside of a debate, but never during one. The man was easily insulted enough as it was, by just someone countering what he said. To call him a lunatic would probably make him violent, but I'm not going to ever test that theory. He went on to say that Akhenaten was Tutankhamun's uncle only, when I countered that DNA evidence shows that Akhenaten was both father and uncle to Tutankhamun by virtue of the younger lady, whom we know as Tutankhamun's mother, her name lost to time, having been Akhenaten's sister, another daughter of Amenhotep III. Again, Stoker ended up insulted me. He shouted obscenities that would make a sailor blush. His obscenities were so great that some of the crowd, some of the audience, actually fainted. Still, I kept my cool, and he was constantly reprimanded. No matter how many times he was, he'd still be that way. Why was he that way? Well, considering he subscribed to theories that were not widely accepted, flawed, or just outright outdated, I'd say no one could take him seriously. Of course, that extraterrestrial theory is something that pretty much prevented him from being taken seriously anywhere. I wish I could say the debate ended there. I wish I could. But no, it continued on.